Now, this is pretty common. Are you confused about how much and when you should be eating carbohydrates? Because so much of the time, if you're like me, you've probably cut the carbs out before, but after a while, you really didn't see the results that you've wanted. And what I want to do in this episode right now is walk you through how to understand how to eat carbohydrates, how to know how to get into great shape, and to enjoy the process as well. Because when you go through cutting your carbs, cutting your calories, a lot of the time you can have a massive backlash. And that backlash is your body fighting back. And it usually fights back with increased hunger, increased cravings, and low energy. So I want to walk you through how to avoid those problems, but importantly, be able to see your body change on a week-to-week basis for the better. Now, why I want to shoot this episode for you right now is because last night I had a huge carb meal. I really stuffed my face, but importantly, it was not a random act. It was planned. And this is why I want to walk you through right now some carb cycling plans that you can start to use from today to understand how you can use carbs to be able to benefit your body in getting in shape so you can feel better on a day-to-day basis. Because I'm finding there are so many carbophobes that have just completely demonized carbs when there's no need. I'm Chris Dufay, author, health and physique specialist and founder of My Body Blends. And this is the place to be to make sure that you get in the shape that you want, that you take care of your health the way that we all know that we should, but it's made for us everyday people. This is simple advice that you can start to use from today. Now, before we jump into this, let's get on the same page with one very important fact, and this is to focus on fat loss. We're not just talking about weight loss here. So much of the time when people cut out carbs and especially really cut out calories, weight loss can be a dramatic factor that drops straight away. But I really want to show you how to start burning off body fat, because what happens is when someone first drops their carbohydrates and especially drops their calories at the same time, what can happen is you can have a dramatic weight loss. And this sets so many people up for false expectations. You can have pounds come off in just a few days to a week, but the problem is that's going to be just water and glycogen weight. This isn't going to be body fat that you're losing. So what I want to show you is how to set up so your body can be primed to accelerate and be effective and efficient at burning body fat. And that's exactly why I set up the 7-day kickstart plan that I'll pop a link below for you to sign up for and get full access to. This is about priming your body so it can use carbohydrates effectively and efficiently, especially when it comes to decreasing inflammation, taking care of gut health, and increasing insulin sensitivity, literally using the mechanical hormone mechanisms at place so your body can drive the sugars from eating the carbohydrates into muscle and avoiding fat cells. So what I want to show you right now is some carb cycling plans that you can use from today. In carb cycling, it's simply a planned increase and decrease of carbohydrates. Yes, we can manipulate your calories and your energies at the same time, but you're not going to need to start calculating your calories to do this as well. And this is so we can have you having a high metabolism, having the actual hormonal environment set up that your body wants to be able to burn body fat for fuel. Now, there are some solid benefits for carb restriction, but what the usual problem is when you start to restrict carbs for too long and too sharply is your body's going to fight back. Certain hormonal balances can come out of whack, for a technical term, and such things such as thyroid hormone, your metabolism, and your conversion from T4 to T3, which further decreases your metabolism. You can also have an increase adrenaline and also stress hormones, all of which is causing a big stew of big problems that is not going to allow you to be able to get in better shape. So let's completely avoid this by using the right plans. And this is especially for people that are really wanting to excel their physiques. When you're going to be following a diet, a meal plan, a weight or a fat loss plan for even longer, this is where a carb cycling plan can come in really effectively. And where I see so many people go wrong and get frustrated themselves when they shouldn't is because when they're trying to follow a plan that's too restrictive, that's not set up to take their hormonal balance into account, this is where you're just trying to use willpower to out-diet your body wanting to get lean. And this is where we can use high carbohydrate days to increase metabolism, increase your thyroid, and also control your hunger. Also using the positives of increased insulin, which is going to come into satiety, and the anabolic effects, which are going to help refuel your glycogen stores, which is great for both men and women. And this is where we want to have two things work for you. Number one, having the hormonal environment set up to accelerate fat loss, but also number two, still having the energy deficit to allow fat loss as well. but importantly not having those side effects such as lower energy, increased hunger, and also increased cravings. And when setting up a carb cycling plan for you, there's a common theme where we just want to have an extended period of time that can change very easily, where you're going to have lower blood sugar levels, where we want to go to focus more on a metabolic process where your body is going to be able to accelerate fat loss. And then there are going to be the times planned to be able to increase your carbohydrates, increase the positive anabolic effects that we want when we want, so your body can continue to progress. And this starts with the foundation of the basics of the low carb day. And this is really where we're focusing on the metabolic effects of making sure you have a really good and adequate intake of proteins, of fats, and also your fibrous vegetables. And this is where your carbohydrate days are then still going to make sure you have the adequate protein and fat intake as well. But your carbohydrates are going to increase, still making sure that you get your fibrous vegetables in, but we want to also get your starchy and your fruit carbs in as well. But always making sure that we first begin with nutrient, whole foods, making sure that you're going to be getting the nutrition needed from these carbohydrate foods that are really going to help you. And to be straight out, no, I'm not a massive fan of just having a high carb day and stuffing your face with the slutty foods, with high sugars, and with poor quality foods that aren't going to deliver the nutrition that you need. I really want to be able to make sure that you're taking in the right foods, but still you can splurge. This is about having it realistic. You can still have some ice cream, pizza, burgers, whatever those things are, and have your body progress. And this is where your high carbohydrate days are still going to make sure that you get the adequate protein and fats in. Also making sure you don't be a salad dodger and get the fibrous vegetables in. But this is really where we're going to want to increase your starchy and your fruit carbs. And importantly, we're going to want to make sure that you do begin with the nutrient whole foods that are still going to deliver the nutrition that you need. No, I'm not a huge fan of making sure that just because it's a high carb day, you're stuffing your face with slutty foods. You're just slamming sugars and poor quality nutrition in. We still want to make sure that you are able to get the good quality food sources in, but at the same time, let's be realistic. Let's have a bit of fun with this as well. You can still have the foods that you enjoy. You can have some ice cream, some pizza, some burgers, whatever those are, but we want to be smart about it. So let's cover a couple of carb cycling plans that you can start with today. And the first one is a really common carb cycling plan that a lot of people don't even think is carb cycling. And this is the once a week carb up. This is where people are really thinking about a once a week cheat meal or a cheat day. Now, straight up, I'm not the biggest fan of cheat days. I don't think a lot of people actually deserve them and it's doing them any good. But a once a week cheat meal is still a carb cycling plan. You're spending 6 days at a lower carbohydrate threshold, making sure you're in a metabolic process, burning body fat and being effective and efficient at it, and having that one day of really increasing your carbohydrates and making sure that you get those positive effects from it. Now, another carb cycling plan that you can use is a training, non-training plan. This is really simple because we're going to be using your weight training as the basis, as this is such an important and powerful glucose disposal method. When you weight train, you're priming your muscles to be able to then suck in that glycogen, suck in those carbohydrates, suck in the sugars from the carbs that you're eating. Now, importantly, what we want to be able to do is increase your carbohydrate intakes on your weight training days. On your non-weight training days, this is where you can have your lower carb intake and you'll be focusing on your proteins, your veggies, and your fibrous carbs. I find when people are more committed and more serious to be able to getting in shape, a training, non-training carb cycle can work really effectively. And then as you progress on, a third carb cycling plan that you can start to use is a 3-to-1 ratio, where we go 3 days of lower carbohydrate, focusing on that metabolic adaptation, and then a 1 day high carb refeed. Now, I am using a high carb refeed as the word. This isn't really a cheat meal. This is making sure that you're getting good quality nutrition in, still having those carbs that are going to be bringing about that positive effect that you want. Then we can also go into a plan that uses low, moderate, and high carb cycling days. But I'm not going to go into that in this episode. We can go further in depth into more advanced strategies to do with your nutrition. There are 3 carb cycling plans that you can start using from today to be able to accelerate your body getting in better shape. So a great question to ask right now is, which one do I choose? So The one that I recommend that you choose is whatever's going to be easiest for you. Let's just get started and we can always progress on later. This is exactly why I've designed everything to do with my body blends as a progression, because it's going to be easy for you to get started. You can start seeing positive results. So if a 6-day, 1 week high carb refeed is the best, then go with that. If you want to do a non-training day carb cycling plan, then I think that would be a fantastic start for you to be able to use. Now, this also goes into a really important point, that is your carb tipping point. How many carbs should you be eating? Where is that threshold where if you start eating too many more carbohydrates, it's going to have a negative effect. Your body's not going to be able to tolerate that, and it's going to start bringing your results halting or even backwards. And the second important point that you've got to take away from this episode is your decisions to what changes are going to make have to be outcome based. I want you to use what the real progress that you're having on a week-to-week basis be the deciding factor of, are you going to increase your carbohydrates? Do you decrease them? What are the changes you are going to be making? Because it's really important to know that it's not always about just decreasing carbs and taking them out. So much of the time, this is the myth that's really perpetuated out there. Because what happens as you get leaner, your physiology changes, your insulin sensitivity increases, inflammation starts to go down, your thyroid hormones start to get better, and also your possible sex hormones such as estrogen and testosterone start to become in better balance. You can actually increase, and commonly you should be able to increase your carb intake and actually progress your results as well. Training day, non-training day method can be so effective. It's because you're using your weight training, which is a fantastic method to be able to increase your insulin sensitivity, to be able to have that glucose disposal method at hand for you. Now, importantly, this isn't the magic cure for fat loss. This is a method that you can start to use today. But importantly, your entire plan has to be surrounded and designed for you as well. You've got to be able to understand what is it that's going to work for you. Then also, how's it going to fit into your lifestyle? But importantly, this is not the magic cure for fat loss. Nothing is. What I want to be able to give you is the methods, the understandings that you can use as of today to be able to consistently see your body progress on a week-to-week basis. These are the foundational principles of being able to understand what foods you need to be eating, how to control yourself on a hormonal environment, and how to use training to accelerate your results. And also why we use the 7-day kickstart diet as that priming phase. So if you haven't done that priming phase before, that would be the best start to then be able to use a carb cycling plan after. Now, this is a part of a series of episodes that I'm going to be giving you, really answering your questions, really giving you the insights for what you need to be doing. So if you've liked this, make sure that you share this out. Share the love and tag the people that you know are going to be able to benefit from this. Also, ask the questions below so I can personally come in, read and reply, and also set up the next episodes to give you exactly what you want. And as always, thank you so much for being here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. Now it's time for you to get the most out of this and comment below. This is where I will personally come in and give you the answers that you need. And as always, the best discussions happen over at mybodyblends.com. This is where I can give you all the guides, programs, and insights that I can't fit in these episodes. Plus the free diets and workouts are there waiting for you now. And if you did like this episode, then be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode and I can send them straight to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon here and in the My Body Blends only community.